Nintendo just dropped the Splatoon 3 version 3.1.0 patch notes, and there are some pretty crazy changes that they've made. They finally nerfed Crab, but will that stop it from being meta? Let's see. First of all, they adjusted the points awarded for each category in the Splatfest results. Sneak Peek is now 7 points instead of 8, Popularity is now 8 instead of 10, and Tricolor is now 18 instead of 15. These are some huge changes to Splatfest, and I really like what they did here. They made Popularity and conch shells worse, but made winning in Tricolor more valuable by a lot. This gives the teams that don't have the popular vote an even better chance at winning Splatfest, which has been the problem in Splatoon 3 so far in the past Splatfests. Next, we have the special weapon changes. Ink Vac. Increase the radius of the outer perimeter when vacuuming up ink by roughly 10% to cover a larger area than before. This is a pretty good buff. I really hope we can see this special more in competitive play sometime soon. Tacticooler. Increase the initial setup speed when throwing the Tacticooler by roughly 33% to enable it to be set up farther than before. They also roughly doubled the horizontal radius of the area where players can drink a beverage. If I gotta be honest, I don't completely understand that first one. I think it means it will just pop up off the ground faster after you throw it. I don't really know for sure though. When they said farther than before, that really confused me. But the double horizontal drinking radius is nice. That'll make it a lot easier to get your team to actually drink the juice. Reef Slider, please have a good buff, please have a good buff. Increase the amount of damage dealt from 60 to 70 when getting caught in an explosion at long range, and increase the radius of that area by roughly 17%. They also increased the radius of the ink splatter from an explosion by roughly 21%. Yes! Let's go! This is a great buff. They gave it more damage and a bigger radius. I really want to try out these new changes. I might actually play Tetras again now. Inkjet. Increase the radius of the explosion area that deals 50 damage by roughly 43%. Also, they strengthened the jet of ink that comes out when pressing B, enabling players to jump higher than before. That radius buff is huge. Just getting 2 indirects kills someone, and with that big of a radius, people will have to either run away or kill the inkjet faster than before, or they're just wiped out. Also, being able to jump higher will make it better for getting around and above obstacles. I'm so glad they did that. I just hope that the jump buff isn't super tiny or anything. I want it to actually help Inkjet be a lot better. Ultra Stamp. Increase the damage radius of shockwaves of continuous stamp attacks by roughly 43%. Improve the turning performance when doing continuous stamp attacks, making it easier to change direction. The stamp will also be invisible for the player using it, so they can actually see what they are attacking in front of them. These are some great buffs. It should definitely help weapons like Luna, Neo, and Wiper to be used a lot more. I'll probably be using them in solo queue if I gotta be honest. Kraken Royale. You can be pushed off the tower more easily than before when using Kraken. You'll also drop all of your claims when you are using Kraken. It doesn't specify if this happens when you activate the special or after it is over. This was pretty obvious they were going to do this to Kraken, and I'm glad they did. It's definitely not super OP in these modes anymore, but it's still pretty good. And finally, what we've all been waiting for, Crab Tank. Here we go. Introduce an interval where players cannot attack for roughly 0.33 seconds after returning to attack mode from mobile mode. Increase the amount of time it takes for players to act again after this special ends. So basically they gave it end lag before it can attack every time it goes in and out of ball mode. They also made it to where there's end lag after it's over, that way you can't just shoot somebody that was destroying your crab right after they kill it. These buffs were definitely needed, don't get me wrong, but I still think Crab Tank needs an even bigger nerf. Maybe next month, guys. We gotta hope. Fingers crossed. Next, here are the main weapon changes. Nova now has 10% faster movement speed when firing, and it will paint its feet a bit better. I'm good with this buff. Nova definitely needs more and more to be even usable in high level or even solo queue. Luna and Luna Neo also got a pretty good buff. The damage radius that does 70 damage was increased by about 50%. This means that it'll be a lot easier to combo with fizzy or indirect splat bombs. I think this was a good buff, but I didn't even think it was needed. I'm glad they did it though. For Big Swig, they adjusted the damage fall-off rate based on vertical swing distance, making the amount of damage fall off more gradually than before. Because of this, the distance where 100 plus damage can be dealt was extended by roughly 15%, and the distance where 50 plus damage can be dealt was extended by roughly 49%. Honestly, I'm all for this. More buffs to Big Swig are really needed. This will help it actually get some kills more, instead of just being there just for object damage. Snipe Rider's max damage has been increased from 60 to 68 damage. This will help it combo a lot better with other players and tap shots. Slosher and Slosher Deco's fall off damage when they attack at someone below them has changed. Now the minimum damage possible is 50 damage. This is good. It never really made sense to me why the fall off was so drastic for a weapon that's supposed to use heights against its opponents. Mini Splatling and Zinc Mini have a longer firing duration by 17%. This is a great buff that I don't think is too drastic, so it's good for the game in my opinion. Dapple Dualies and Dapple Novo get less end lag after dodge rolling by 0.06 seconds. To me, this seems like such a minuscule change, but I mean, it's helping the weapon a little bit. I'm all for it. Dapples definitely need some buffs. Splat Dualies have increased dodge roll speed with the same end lag buff as Dapples. Buffing Dualies could be really good for changing the meta, even though Crab would still be the best special and used a lot. This isn't enough yet, but maybe eventually. Reflux 450 has a more narrow angle of diffusion depending on the amount that it's charged. This means that the 3 places that it shoots will be a bit closer together as you charge it more. The movement speed while charging with Reflux is now 10% faster. Here are the sub-weapon changes. Angle Shooter, roughly doubled the radius of the ink splatter that occurs when it hits terrain. Whoa, they wanted it to paint even better? I think this is great. Maybe it has about the radius of a burst bomb now? We don't really know for sure since they said roughly doubled, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like burst bomb now. Burst bomb. Increase the amount of ink consumed from a standard ink tank from 40 to 45% if the player doesn't have ink saver sub. The amount of ink consumed when the maximum number of abilities are equipped will be unchanged. This is a very surprising nerf. I didn't expect them to go for Burst Bomb. This is an indirect nerf for Splash, which is good, but it's also a nerf for any other Burst Bomb weapon like Stamper, which I'm not as happy about if I gotta be honest. I really liked Stamper with Burst Bomb. Next up are the gear ability changes. Sub resistance up. Damage from burst bombs and fizzy bombs will be reduced more than before, even with just a few gear abilities. This is great. The ability might be used a bit more to go against Splash with burst bombs. Opening Gambit. If a player splats or assists in splatting an enemy while this gear ability is in effect, the effect will now be extended by roughly 15 seconds instead of roughly 7.5 seconds. Okay, I gotta be honest, I didn't even know that happened, but now it's even better. That's pretty cool. Intensify action will also occur when this gear ability is in effect. The effect is equivalent to 3 primary gear abilities. These are actually really good buffs. I'm glad for anyone who likes this ability. I just don't really like it too much because after the ability is over, you just have one less main ability slot than everyone else. There are also a lot less points for special changes than the past few patches, but here they are. Carbon Roller Deco went from 200 to 190 points for special, and 96 Gal Deco went from 200 to 210. These make sense, and I'm good with these. Not really too much to say about it, except that Nintendo really doesn't want Kraken to be spammed a lot, which is definitely good. Rare Nintendo devs up. And last but definitely not least, the Salmon Run changes. They made the interval between touching a golden egg and being able to use it roughly the same for all players. This means that the host of a Salmon Run shift should not get the egg any faster than their crewmates. Though they do say it could still be slower if the internet is super slow in the match, which kinda sucks, and I thought that was the cause of it already, so I hope it's at least a little bit better. If you want to see what Nintendo said about why they changed what they did in this patch, go over to the website in the description. The bug fixes are also there too, which are too many to list off in this video. Overall, I'm pretty happy with these changes. We got at least a bit of a nerf for Crab, plus a Burst Bomb nerf too. So hopefully we won't get triple splashes anymore, but you never know. Maybe it'll still be completely meta to have 3. The buffs to Reef Slider and Ultra Stamp are awesome. I'll be playing some new weapons for the next few weeks for sure. I'm also glad they did the update earlier than in the middle of April. It was definitely a good call considering Kraken needed a nerf fast. I've given you my opinions, but what do you guys think about all these changes? Are you happy with most of them? Tell me in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and join the Discord to geek out with other awesome people in the Splatoon community. See you guys next time.